All right. Good evening, all you awesome people out there. My name is Scott Churchson, alongside Mr. Ryan Reagan and also Mr. Davion Boosie, and welcome to Tales from the Film Set on Streampunk Entertainment and also Spanglish World Network, Zingo TV, channel 249 and 250. Make sure to download the Zingo TV app on the app stores of iOS and Android devices. When you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. And one more thing, when you download, make sure basically at this point that basically you have Google Chromecast, iOS, Android devices, and all smart TVs 2016 and forward, and that's how you're going to get it. And yes, I fumbled the end of that, but you know what? I don't care. Let's talk Predator. So,
man is passionate.
Yes, you know what? Basically, we're going to break this down. Dear God in heaven, we have a fifth Predator movie because, God, this is exactly what the world needed. Another basically way to just milk the Predator teat, to get every dollar out of it. Wait a minute, what? This movie was actually good?
Yes.
Technically, seventh Predator film. Don't forget the Predator Alien
I'm
ones.
not talking the aliens ones. I'm just talking pure Predator. The Predator, I'm talking pure Predator only, not crossover like they do with
count the Alien franchise versus Predator?
I'm not counting that in this case because I don't count Freddy versus Jason as part of Nightmare on Elm Street.
So even though it's all owned by Disney now.
Well, okay, yeah, well, dude, everything's owned by Disney. Okay, fine. The seventh movie in the Predator-esque franchise, in seventh iteration, the movie that no one asked for, everyone lampooned, and holy crap on a stick, actually didn't suck.
Really? I'm going to have to say this, ladies and gentlemen, and Scott, and Ryan.
Do I fall into some mix in there, ladies, gentlemen, and Scott,
Because I'm just saying in general, because I have to say the direction they went with this film was pretty amazing. It was very interesting. It wasn't like they tried to force the whole aspect of the Predator. They gave you a good origin. The setting was perfect for a prequel. It was, and also a little bit of women's rights into it.
Geez. Don't start that.
There was something of that sort, but
yes, it did have a pro-feminine protagonist origin. She's definitely not a Mary Sue, but certainly a well-established enough character. I would say pretty much almost in maybe the same vein as in Predator 2, when you had someone who was relatively, you would think would probably be the last person to be like the one left alive, and yet here she is coming out on top.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, everyone's been praising Amber Midthunder.
Yeah.
Who, if you've never seen her in Legion, yeah, you're going to be surprised by what she can do. I remember her from that show, and I remember how much she was with the action in that film and the whole series. She pretty much was the butt kicker of the entire series. And to see her going ahead and displaying it so well with still keeping like a lot of those traditional Comanche Native American elements and being able to showcase that kind of fighting. I haven't seen fighting like that in a movie probably since Last of the Mohicans.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You really got to feel that, even though it was simplistic by our standards and by the standards of even some of the people that are in the film, they knew what to do, man. It's like, I wanted to go hatchet throwing after watching the movie. I just wanted to go to the nearest, Stumpy's or someplace nearby. Bury the hatchet.
Palisades Mall. I did it last month.
I wanted to go, man. It's that kind of movie where it gets you pumped.
It felt like a female version of Scorpion.
Hmm.
That was Native American.
But
you can see her with the axe throw. Like, the way she threw the axe, and it was like, get over.
Yeah, with the leash. Oh, my God. I want that now. I'll die from using it, but I want it.
You're going to go out the way you want to go out.
Yes.
But see, here's the thing. Director Dan Trachtenberg referred to this as basically being an R-rated Disney princess movie. And I don't think that's entirely a wrong way of going about this because it didn't have like the Disney Princess vibe, but it actually, they wanted to push the R rating on this. They wanted this movie to be something that was not really entirely as much geared for kids. which is maybe part of the reason it went to Hulu. I know the conversation. I think I think you had it in your conversation on Facebook. Why didn't this movie go to theaters? Because if it went to theaters, it might have ended up as PG-13.
Are you serious? Like,
dude,
this was.
It's very true. It would have been a PG-13 because look, for as much as Amber Midthunder and as much as her work was great, she's still an unknown leading this movie. The only thing you have pushing this in the theaters is the fact that it's a Predator movie, even though the Predator is not in the title, which means your layman audience would get confused about, oh, it's a Predator movie? I didn't know that. It's
and the fact that it's yet another Predator movie, which is what I let out with this.
Right. And you have to state it as such, because it's not going to be the cast that drives you to the film.
Mm-hmm.
This is the kind of movie that if you're Disney and you've just recently acquired this franchise and you want to try to make something from this, knowing how the other films have either fared or flopped in the theaters, this is how you test what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You put it on your quote-unquote R-rated network. You let it go hard R because you can over on that end as opposed to Disney Plus or in theaters. And you go balls to the wall with it. I mean, it was pretty bloody for what you got.
Right.
I'd say as bloody as the original.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger.
I think what they did is they took a page. They started looking at a lot of movies like this and thought to themselves, okay, stuff that's going direct to streaming services across the board. What's going to Disney Plus? What is going to HBO Max or anything like that? Which one fared better? And they pretty much, probably my guess is they looked at like Peacemaker. They looked at the Disney Plus stuff and saw which one basically tested better, which one had the better review. Let's go in that direction with this movie. Because again, it's all about money in this case. Mm-hmm. And they decided in this case, they gave Trachtenberg, the ability and the leash to do what he wanted with this. And as a result, they went we'll call it HBO Max route, where they didn't really hold back as much. They didn't really put this into something, that had to be more kid-friendly like a Disney Plus would have been. And this was the end result. And like I said, people were pleasantly surprised because they went into this with low expectations and came out of it very impressed.
Mm-hmm.
And the beautiful thing about it is that even though it is R-rated, it's not obscene. A lot of the violence is still CG. A lot of the violence is pretty much more the Predator killing foes who are attacking him. It's not a lot of gore porn as you'd probably see in stuff like Hostel or other bloody type movies.
There's a movie I have to show you guys about that at some point.
And considering we're basically listening to Comanche talk, it's like there's not a lot of swearing either. No gratuitous nudity, nothing like that. It was all just about the violence. And outside of that, all they had to focus on was the story, which the story is essentially Pocahontas mixed with Mulan with a dash of Lilo and Stitch.
A psychotic Stitch.
Yo, and I've got to admit, obviously this Predator looked a little bit different than other ones that we've seen in other movies.
Right.
Even going down all the way to the bone mask as opposed to the traditional shiny metal. I still like the look of it. It looked primal. It looked like the kind of thing that would probably be written on cave drawings if they went even further back. There's now even talks about they're doing a sequel to this.
I was going to ask
similar, not direct sequel, but similar in like the prequel sense. But they wanted to be in Japan during, like the samurais and
the feudal era. Yeah.
Well, which makes, and you know what? It makes sense because you got to go back to the history aspect because these type of creatures, which are, I forgot how they say what they call them, the predators. But long story short, they always challenge and try to prey on the best fighters or the best hunters. So it makes sense to go back in the history aspect besides just throwing it in modern day, because modern day it's like, okay, it's like an action adventure trying to capture it, besides actually try to find the source, find the origins behind it and try to see who they will best battle on a prey or hunt me versus hunt me type scenario.
And that's what I think hurt Predator 2 a little bit, was the fact that it was not only modern day but modern city. and nothing against Danny Glover in this case, but I think that hurt the sequel a little bit, where the first one was so inventive, where while it was present day, it was South America in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And that's the benefit to a film like this. It was pretty much absolutely in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Which gives you a little bit more creativity as far as what you want to do with the sets.
Well, I think that's always been the basis of Predator. It's more, as we've tried to make sequels of the movie, we've always tried to throw newer technology and newer warfare. And that doesn't necessarily make for a good movie because it's all just special effects.
Right.
If you go further back and you actually get to the warrior within, that inner presence of, what makes you a hunter, what makes you a warrior, what makes you a fighter, and show those times when they go up against something that is astronomically far and beyond whatever they could conceptualize in that time. That's what makes it appealing, because some people are going to die. It's a question of who's going to live.
Right. Like when I saw Predators, the one when they're trapped in was it a hunter game type planet? I love the concept. I didn't quite understand why a lot of people didn't like it.
Well, it's also why
Scott, why you ain't like it? Because you gave me that side.
You know what? Like I said, I said it leading off this, that, it's milking the Predator teat, taking every dime you can. Because you guys, I said it was the 5th movie. You guys opted to correct me, saying this, it was the 7th movie in the Aliens universe. Because again, they had a couple
Predators universe. Yes.
I'm sorry, Predator universe. Because they had a couple with aliens, and not to, forgetting even like some of the comics where, I mean, for God's sakes, Batman fought Predator at one point. I had that comic back in the 80s, 90s, whenever that was. So, after a while, you look at this again, and it's like you get burned out because it's just going back to the same well over and over and over again, that it leads to a certain degree of skepticism whether or not this is going to be decent. And I think to some degree, and I was having somebody commented about on the YouTube channel recently, about Avatar. The new sequels series is coming out. Are people at some point, when they come out with Avatar 5, are people going to be burned out going back to that teat yet again? I think personally, people, by the time they come out with Avatar 5, people are going to be done with Avatar. And that's where I think a lot of people coming into this, myself included. Oh,
wow. Is it better than Yes.
Dude,
Tyler,
having my balls scraped with sandpaper is better than Master of Disguise was.
Until he was drinking. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude. Well, actually, that made it better in every way.
Tyler. I have no rant for this movie. It was a good movie.
It wasn't bad. It was better than expected.
Yeah. That is as PG-13 as I can get while we are on live.
Right.
Well,
this is a whole different show, Tyler.
Yeah.
I would say pretty much Prey really did what it was supposed to do. It basically made people underestimate it, and all the Predator fans underestimated to the point that they sat back and looked at it and was like, wow, they actually got the history stuff down on pack. The only issue they had was the language with the main character. Because why are they speaking English? But I understood why they did it, because they did it because of the audience. Because you're looking at their perspective in English format to understand their dialect, and everybody else is an enemy.
And also, additionally, it's easier for people that are not used to subtitles. I talk to people. I'm used. When you watch enough anime, you're used to watching subtitles. But for your general audience, if they're not used to subtitles, they're drawn in on that, and they miss the action of what's going on. So you have to do that. I mean, Hunt for Red October, they did the same thing. They started out in Russian, and then all Sean Connery and all the Russians on the sub switched to English. Because that was just easier for the movie, and it made sense. Same idea here, where you don't want the subtitles and the authenticity, shall we say, of the language to take away from the action that's going to be in a film like this. It was the right move, I think.
Right, and I agree. Like, I really think for a film like this, you needed to get that perspective and don't speak English and make the other people speak a different language, because it was Was it Portuguese or Spanish or the Spanish? And that
Spanish. Well, see, Portuguese is half a dialect of Spanish.
right.
You know,
So were they from Spain or was they?
I don't
in the
remember
movie.
that.
Yeah, in the movie.
No, they were French. They were French Canadian.
Oh, they were French Canadian.
Yeah, considering the region that the movie takes place in, they would have been French Canadian.
Okay, all right. But I know the history aspect. Unless we're talking about Canadian lore when they tried to evade, I think North America.
No, it's just they were there for poaching. That's all it was.
Oh, okay.
But see, here's where basically you mentioned something before.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead because
No. I'm not going to be racist to French Canadians, man. I don't want Kevin Owens on me.
There's no Canada like French Canada. It's the best Canada.
Kevin Owens,
Oh,
you got no right to try to mess with us. You say don't be afraid. I ain't afraid.
I love baguettes. I'm just saying.
I ain't afraid of Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens. Sorry.
God, yeah, I was gonna say D. This is where actually I just want to mention one thing, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Both of you. You mentioned something about people coming in with no expectation. They got one now. Because now you have set the bar with this movie. So if there is the inevitable sequel now, and the fact that, the ending kind of cheeses that there's the potentiality for it, where is the expectation going to lie?
Well, I think now they know that they can make a Predator movie anywhere. So that if they go ahead and they put one in theaters, there's no need for it to tie into anything that happened from Prey if they make a sequel to it or not. If they decide to go into a different timeline, a different region of the world, they have a blueprint now of what will work with an audience in this current climate. Rather than what they tried to do a few years ago with The Predator, with, who was that? Sterling K. Brown and Holbrook, I think. And that was forgettable. It might as well just been like any sci-fi monster movie. But now, if you take away a lot of the more militaristic stuff that it started with, and you just go with the fact of like man versus the unknown and work with that, you've got your film.
Right.
And in the next movie, they should also have a dog. Yes. Because that dog was best supporting player. Don't tell me he wasn't.
I'm not saying that yet. I'm just saying it was perfect for this film. Next one, they should just keep it man versus the unknown, or human versus the unknown.
Oh, okay, fine. Give him a bird companion. I don't know. Make it like Rick and Two Crows. I don't care, but there should be an animal.
All right. All right. Well, we'll see what happens with that one. Whether or not it goes to Hulu, whether it goes to.
Speaking of other action movies that happened this weekend, I did just want to touch real quick on Bullet Train.
Yes.
Because here's the thing, this is a perfect comparison between what gets put onto streaming and what gets put into theaters. There is no way something like Bullet Train was ever going to put on to streaming, because look at that star cast.
Yes.
It's like there is if you had done something like a Train to Busan where it was like maybe just one well-known actor and like a few other people, then I could see it have gone to streaming, because I think it would have been a nice action piece, kind of like what they tried to do with Joey King and the Princess on Hulu. But this was just so star-studded. The script writing was crisp. The relationship between
Do you need me to quote?
Aaron Taylor Rogers, outstanding brotherhood there. Brad Pitt in his most mellow, like most surfer dude, Matthew McConaughey, very nice. And Day is about to blow up.
So I suggest you and I just keep talking for the next 9.5 minutes straight. Let him just basically just.
Did you see the movie? Go ahead, quick. Did you see it?
Okay, so basically, you want to let him go? Go, D.
How fine go?
You have a artist in the film who did a phenomenal job, better than Beyonce.
Brave
Wait.
words, young man. Brave words.
I'm sorry. Better than Beyonce. Bad Bunny is an artist. It's like bringing Kanye into a film, and it's like, Kanye, you need to change careers. You have.
K-Hive, he's the one saying it, not me.
I don't care.
Well, I mean,
Everybody-
you've seen him in Corona commercials alongside Snoop Dogg, so.
Yeah. Well, we got to check out another film with Snoop Dogg and Jamie Foxx when it comes out.
Mhm.
But as far as Bullet Train is concerned, I'm sorry. This actually, it was. Can I say what I post on my Facebook?
Sure.
What?
Is it not? Are we going to get flagged?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what you said, so.
I said it's like Kill Bill, John Wick, and Deadpool was in a Finage a Trois.
That's fine.
Okay.
I can see where you're going with that. It's the simple fact of like, this is the kind of movie that we've seen before. I mean, Deadpool 2 kind of had very similar vibes to it, similar director actually. Smoking Aces had similar feel to it. Anytime you have like a big ensemble cast and at least 50% of the people aren't going to make it out of the movie alive, it's like you start placing your bets. It's like, who's your favorite? Who's going to make it to the final round?
Yo, because that's what I was doing in this movie. I was like, the intensity. I was like, yo, oh God.
He's loving it. He's loving it. Yeah.
No, I can see straight up, this film is going to be on my library. It is. It is. Like, Brad Pitt did a phenomenal job. Bad Bunny, the rest of Zeta Beats, the other guy from Atlanta. Oh my God. Like, the list. Oh, even the guy that's going to play, what's his name? Craven the Hunter. Oh my God. Like, oh, even Scorpion. Oh my God. Like, oh my God. It's just like, watching this film was phenomenal in a way where it was like, it had a serious moment. It's just Brad Pitt with his quirkiness and his weird chill moments. And then everybody played the part of their weird quirkiness. And then the cameos was fire.
Well, I mean, this is the same guy who also did Atomic Blonde and John Wick, the original.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
And you mentioned
David
John Wick already, so.
Lech, however you say his name, he has a certain style. You know, everything, little bits interconnecting here. The kind of stuff where it's like, if you have to watch it a second time in case you missed something about like how things flew together.
Yeah.
The non sequiturs, the surprise castings. Did you know that just the lady who came in with the drink truck with the blonde wig on,
Yeah.
that's the girl from The Boys.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't recognize it unless like you knew her sound and her voice and everything.
Exactly.
Like just someone. Oh, and Carver. Carver. When I was like, I was so waiting for something to happen to him, but of course, considering the movies he's done, I'm not surprised that he got the cameo there. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, go see the movie.
The movie. That's why we're not going to spoil anything. Or you
No, and it did well enough. $30 million opening weekend, number one for the box office. Not the biggest box office by any means, especially considering how much money this movie probably costs, considering all the star power.
Yeah.
But still a sizable inclusion to the summer action fair.
Correct.
So this whole weekend was just like, if you want to see people dying, this was it.
Exactly. Dying and laughing at the same time. You're enjoying people dying.
Well, yeah. Here you could laugh at the death. Maybe not so much in Prey.
Yeah.
Except for the French Canadians. But they deserved it. They were bad. Not all, but just them.
I'm just gonna let him say what he has to say.
Here.
Yes, I'm gonna let Ryan go, and then basically we're gonna talk about something else.
Oh Lord.
Ryan, just finish your thoughts, sir.
No, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not.
Good. I guess
I am getting no letters.
I'm scared.
Okay.
Oh God. No.
Speaking of French Canadians, no, I'm so, see.
Oh
Bad
my
Ryan.
God, I can't get
Here
out.
we go.
I'm
Hang on a
following
second. Me. Making sure the voice is fine here. Okay. Word has come down, because Hollywood's got a Hollywood, that they are doing a live-action Pac-Man movie. Based clearly on the heels of looking at Sonic the Hedgehog and thinking, you know what other live-action movies can we do? Realizing that the previously heretofore announced Tetris live-action movie, which was supposed to be a thing, has not actually gotten the traction that they had wanted. Decision has been made to do a live-action Pac-Man movie. Now, this screams to me something straight out of Robot Chicken. Robot Chicken actually did a sketch there where they did Chutes and Ladders the movie, Hungry Hungry Hippos the movie, and I would guarantee that they probably would do something called Pac-Man the live-action movie, which my question to you is why? Besides, give me a reason for this besides money. I'll wait.
Give me a second. Well, okay. Well,
I got something in my tooth.
I can't say that there is no precedent to doing more with the Pac-Man IP. They've been making Pac-Man games since the dawn of the video game. They may not be the most enjoyed games, they may not be the most talked about games, but he certainly has his place in history and can currently be found on most modern consoles, so it's not like they've forgotten about him. And he has had a number of not live action, cartoon and CGI animated television series. So they have at least tried to develop lore with Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man and Pac-Man Jr. or Baby Pac-Man.
It's
Pac
not
Baby, whatever they call it.
It's not Miss Pac-Man anymore, by the way. Let me point that out.
Why?
It's Pac-Mom.
It's what?
Pac-Mom. Yes.
Pac-Mom?
Right.
Pac-Mom.
I'm leaving, guys. Yeah,
leaving that out of the equation for a second. I'm sorry. Continue. I just wanted to clarify that one quick thing. Please, Ryan,
Okay,
continue.
Pac-Man, Pac-Mom, Pokemon, I don't know. But there is the idea that a movie could work simply because we've heard of other intellectual properties that have been outlandish that, when done in the right way, have worked. Look at Lego. When they said that they were going to make a Lego movie, no one had any possibilities about how good it could have gotten, and it was good. It was simply taking the premise and really being inventive with it. Now, when they say live action, I'm not thinking, necessarily a guy in a Pac-Man suit. It may go the way of Sonic the Hedgehog, where it's like a CGI live action hybrid, because maybe the ghosts actually come from dead people. Who knows? I don't know. But for it to be in this landscape now that we have, where we are getting a Super Mario Brothers movie, where we are getting a third Sonic movie,
2000, yeah.
I want to have at least a little bit of faith in. We haven't heard anything more. We haven't heard casting. We haven't heard the setting. Let me wait and see if there's a trailer. Then I'll give you judgment.
That's fair. I have my own thoughts, but D, go first, please.
Sonic was different. Mario is different. Pac-Man
is different.
On. No.
There's not. Yeah.
For a live action, it's like, what can you do? Like, I'm not going to tell you to get an idea, but it's just, I'd rather you do Ghosts and Goblins, Alex Boy, or whatever the game was with name
Alex Kidd.
Alex Kidd. I'd rather you do Contra.
Well, see, there's everything that you've said about every single one of those games that you're flipping. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them had an antagonist. Pac-Man basically had to eat things and avoid ghosts. There was no, basically Sonic had Dr. Eggman or Robotnik, whatever you're going to call him. Super Mario has Bowser. Contra has, Red Falcon. You have all Ghost and Goblins has Lucifer, Satan, whatever the one that was at that point. Pac-Man has Inky, Blinky, Dinky, and Clyde.
You don't know. Clark could be a bad mother.
Listen, you guys are too young to remember this. I remember the Pac-Man cartoon that was voiced, no joke, by Soupy Sales. That was meant to be, that was like a 7 to 8 minute cartoon where usually basically he would get eaten by the ghosts, feel miserable, eat a power pellet, save the day, and yay, everything was fine. That was a 7-minute cartoon, not a 90-minute film. You can't drag out right now Pac-Man and turn it into something entertaining based on that. You have to probably make too much of a change there to add too much. You got to adjust too much. I mean, Pac-Man, when it started to go to Super Pac-Man, it was already losing steam. When it went to Pac-Land, it was already losing steam. People forgot about it by that point. There's a Pac-Man cartoon right now. Okay, maybe they can base it off that. I don't know. I haven't done enough research there. But the reality is there has never been a massive antagonist to Pac-Man like there was for Mario or for Sonic or anybody like that. This is going to be something where it's just he eats stuff, he runs away from ghosts, he eats stuff, he eats ghosts. Roll credits. D, go.
We have whole television shows of paranormal investigators that are exactly the same thing.
Here's the thing. If you're going to do something like what Scott said, you might as well just make a Kirby movie, live action.
That would be good.
Thank you. And the purpose of them eating is to gain the other person's power.
Yeah.
That would have made sense. And Kirby is adorable. Children. Money. Christmas. Movies. Live action. DuckTales. Same thing. You could make DuckTales in a live action, make an alternate dimension. Bang! I'm sorry, I'm just giving ideas.
And there probably will be a Kirby movie, considering Nintendo just got themselves a movie studio. So they will be pounding out Nintendo-branded film content.
Ooh. Super Mario Brothers, Kirby, Zelda, Smash Brothers.
No.
That's what they're. I wonder if they're going to go Avengers with this.
Metro Prime.
Oh yeah, well Metroid, of course, yeah, sure. Kid Icarus, you can have that too. But are they going to start basically building their entire like MC universe and have like a Smash Brothers, movie?
That would make sense.
Oh god.
My thing is the Sega one is right now is the very interesting one.
Well, you mentioned
Sonic, because they did Sonic. Now they're saying Streets of Rage is the next film.
Yeah.
Are we going to go rated R with Streets of Rage, or are we going to go PG-13?
You better go R with that. If you go PG,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say if you go PG-13 with Streets of Rage, it's gonna look bad.
And my thing was, even if it wasn't Streets of Rage that they did second, they should have did Comic Zone. Hands down, Comic Zone.
Yeah, I've forgotten one there. Altered Beast, the movie, that could work.
Tournament Eternal Champions.
Yeah, that. Oh boy. Well, I don't know. Fighting games often try to struggle going to live action.
But Eternal Champions, I could see where they could go with it. You like Mortal Kombat had it.
I hated that last boss in that game. Oh my god, I bit my arm so much in frustration from that game.
What game?
Eternal Champions.
Jesus Christ!
I had that game for the Genesis. That final boss was brutally hard.
Sega, you got your studio.
Yeah. All right. So basically, what other game systems can TurboGrafx? We could have Ease the movie. We had an anime of that already. Keith Courage and Alpha Zones.
We're still talking about Sega, right?
No, we're talking about NEC with TurboGrafx. What was the game system that Soulja Boy came out with? Didn't he have one?
I don't know. I don't think anyone bought it.
I remember JonTron did a video on like Soulja Boy's game system.
He may have been one of the few hundreds. I don't know. But anyway, moving on from your hatred of the original video game character. Do we get into the sad news or do we talk on the other Naki person?
The Donkey person?
What donkey monster?
The person that we should knock on, yes.
Nah. Let's start with little Olivia Newton-John love.
But let's take it down for a sec. Yeah. So yeah, Olivia Newton-John. I don't want to say this one necessarily hurts, but I mean, she is definitely somebody that I'd say everyone has grown up with to a certain
Mhm.
extent, because Grease is just that popular of a film generationally. Like it, whether it be Gen X, Gen
Mhm.
Z, Millennial, Boomer, it feels like somebody in every generation introduces this movie to the generation, and it's like, dude, you got to watch this, and we all have to hand jive.
Mhm.
Right.
And she really did have just a great singing voice. Nothing about her music videos, considering Physical was
Yeah.
controversial for its time.
Let's get
Mhm.
fit.
Well, it's also
Yeah, and
that.
then all the guys walking out, and she's just upset in the gym. That was funny, but
But it is a tough moment for everybody. You know, she was an icon to many, you know, and I think her breakout role was Grease
Oh yeah.
and her performance, you know, singing with John Travolta and the rest of the cast, you know, like, what can you say? You know, she's a great performer and a great actress. Matter of fact, not even not none of that. She's a great artist.
Hmm.
You know, because she pulled a lot of stuff, and to know that she passed away. The good thing about it is she's going to be in our memories. We're going to see that one film, you know, Grease every single day to basically have our children and our grandchildren and tell them that this is film. This is what film should be. So
But not Grease 2.
exactly.
Not
no.
Grease 2 with Michelle Pfeiffer.
And the thing is, she didn't even have that prominent of like a film career. She was mostly a singer, coming out of like the Australia, New Zealand scene and everything. If anything, Grease being her biggest film, Xanadu being her most panned film,
Hmm.
and that's really it. Aside from a couple of things that she did in the later years, like she was a part of Sharknado 5.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, global swarming.
Oh,
Yeah,
the week still.
and the very excellent Mr. Dundee,
Yeah,
which was something that apparently was made with Paul Hogan.
Crocodile Dundee 3.5, essentially.
Yeah, but outside of that, it was like guest appearances on television shows
Mhm.
and her music videos.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact of the matter is, her role in Grease, her character of Sandy, she's pretty much like the prototypical influence for a lot of people to get into song and dance.
Hmm.
Right.
You know, like when you're a kid and you see that movie, because that's one of the few that you can probably watch as a younger age and not get bored by it. You get enthralled. You want to become Sandy at the end of the movie. You want to be a pink lady. If you're a guy, maybe you want to be a T-bird. I don't know. Maybe you're that one strange kid that wants to be the beauty school dropout. I don't know. Who am I to judge? But it really hits everybody one way or another. I'll admit, I wasn't necessarily the biggest Grease person. It was something that, happened to me over the years when I saw more and more people really enjoy it. My sister, on the other hand, her being a cheerleader in high school,
Hmm.
she loved Grease.
Yeah, I can see it.
So, I mean, it's one of those movies that, you may not necessarily like musicals, but there's something about Grease that still hits.
Mhm.
Right.
You know, there was a lot to that, obviously, back in the 70s and everything. What that movie brought to, well, I mean, honestly, what that movie brought to multiple generations.
Mm.
I mean, not just like you said, as far as, but also even to a degree now. You know, a lot of musicals are based on that movie. You know, a lot of musicals are based on seeing that and being able to, draw comparisons to it and say, okay, we're trying to matter it. Basically, it's like Grease, but set in the X, Y, and Z era. You know.
Right.
Similar, yeah. And actually, I'm almost wondering. I know we have a lot of stuff coming up on the slate, but I do think that before the year is out, we should do a bad movie beatdown for Xanadu.
Okay. Or I was gonna say Grease too. You know.
Well, no. I'd say in honor of Olivia Newton-John,
Okay. Well,
if
see,
we can.
also keeping in mind that I was trying to look for this picture specifically. You know, obviously
Oh
those
yeah,
pants,
the
those
one that I
pants were
want.
made famous. You know, and to their credit, both Olivia Newton-John and also John Travolta. I mean, they
Yeah.
They
This
do
right
kind
here,
of
one of
recording
the
those.
easiest Halloween costumes you will ever find on
Oh, sure.
any Halloween. As
Right.
far as a couple's costume, that's them.
And she drives off into heaven at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of controversy about whether or not they're dying. I'm like,
Yeah.
is that really how you want to remember the movie?
Dude, with the amount of news coverage I've been seeing on this, you know what scene they end with every single news piece on Olivia Newton-John? That one.
Yeah,
Every
of course.
single one is ending with basically her being like, and waving,
Oh, God,
Oh, yeah.
no.
Every single one is doing that.
Classy, America.
It's classy, but it's that's a tearjerker.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
So Olivia, rest in peace.
So, all right. So we got
someone who's not a tearjerker.
Oh God, please, Lord Jesus Christ, no! Don't say his name.
Don't
Don't say his name.
Okay, to be fair, I don't even know where you're going with this. I legit don't.
You
I
don't?
know
You
where
haven't
you're
heard the news?
I know
No.
where he's going.
I don't know where you're going with this.
I do.
Ezra Miller,
Oh,
the
yes.
pride of Wyckoff, New Jersey,
Jersey
has officially
Jersey
been
representative.
arrested and charged with a crime after all these years. And it's one of the stupidest ones possible.
Burglary in
Vermont for stealing alcohol out of someone's house when they were not home. Felony theft charges.
Not even that. He was riding around with a bulletproof vest and a gun.
Yeah. But apparently the Flash was not quick enough to not get caught with the liquor.
I'm going to say this.
That's bad promotion, WB. That's bad promotion.
Dude, okay, go ahead, please.
I'm going to say this. Just recast him. I'm done. Just recast him.
Recast him. Get it done.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, listen, they recast Johnny Depp with Mads Milligan for Fantastic Beasts 3.
Yeah.
I watched Fantastic Beasts 3 last night for literally the first time. Surprisingly, I was way behind on this. And Ezra Miller plays Credence Dumbledore in this movie. Spoiler alert. So it was already basically black marked enough with the decision, and honestly, WB and Warner Brothers getting the beat down for firing Johnny Depp in the first place. Now you have one of your baddies here in this movie, who's been in the first 3 movies, arrested for burglary and everything else, and having his reputation destroyed with grooming and everything. If you recast him, what do? I mean, your entire franchise was hinging around 2 main baddies, one by Johnny Depp and one by Ezra Miller. You replaced one. You're going to replace the other one now. Please.
They should bring the guy that does the CW Flash. They should use him.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
He wasn't a bad Flash.
Yes, he's not a bad Flash, but
he's a TV
what?
Flash, though.
Okay, this is something that I hate to take someone else's knowledge, but this is something that John Campea has stated in himself when this was approached to him. At the Flash's height, the television series, at its height, with the amount of people that watched The Flash weekly, if you put them in a box office and you had to have them buy tickets, it would have equated to only about $10 million of ticket sales. Because that's just how television audiences are. They'll either watch it in reruns or they'll watch it when it goes to Netflix. Then they're fickle and they're loyal, but they're not exactly the best to gauge for monetary investment.
Batman Mask of the Phantasm, considered to be the best Batman movie, bombed at the box office.
Yeah. Just because something works on television does not mean it's going to work on film. And even though they've had the crossover, it even then happened on television. You don't have any of the television people from any of the Arrowverse crossing over into any of the DC movies. Why? Because they know better.
But they did have the movies crossed over and the TV shows, though.
That's different.
Because
that's like
they
stepping
needed
down.
the bump.
That's a step downward. Be honest with you, I think Grant Gustin is more than done with the flashing across any idiot or any medium at this point. 9 years playing the Flash. I think he's been done since like season 3 or 4 mentally.
Yeah, for all you know, he wants to try something else.
Dude, I wouldn't blame him. He is so typecast as the Flash, he's probably aching to do something more dramatic or something different.
Or maybe do something with Marvel instead, since he's so well integrated with DC. He'd be able to bring over a fan base that has been at odds with the brand.
Marvel would absolutely stick at the DC in a case like that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that would be like oh god, that would be DC kicking themselves in the rear end, and you don't know how they're doing it. But it's just entertaining.
Marvel with a live action Snowflake and Safe Space movie. Grant Gustin has been attached.
Oh wow.
No, God, no. But
like what else? Because now you got Flashpoint. You got to figure out how they're gonna because they already made changes to the Flash film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
what was stated. And Ezra Miller, like, who are they going to cast? Like, just to replace him?
Who knows? I mean, I think at this point, the important thing is not so much whether or not they recast him in another movie, because to go ahead and try to do him in the Flash movie will just be time consuming. And as the new head of Warner Brothers Discovery has proven, he does not want to waste money.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you put out a statement, you disavow Ezra Miller after the movie premieres, you say they're recasting, you say you're going back to the drawing board, you have a 10-year plan, make the Flash a different part of the 10-year plan, and simply put him in another person's body. I don't know who you cast really for it. Maybe who would you cast as a new Flash? I personally think you probably could go Timothy Chalamet. If you want someone with a similar look, who has enough youth and credibility.
Who's the kid? Hang on a minute. I got to look him up. I got the guy in my head right now.
Or you can basically have them kill off the character and bring his nephew and have somebody play his nephew, who is Kid Flash.
True. Yeah. There's so many different Flashes in the DC. You could go with any one of them.
All right. Kid Flash, Donald Faison, The Flash, Zach Braff. That would be the ultimate buddy comedy.
That would be such a dark, different Earth sort of version.
Yeah.
That would be a multiverse thing. Yeah, they're both too old for something like that.
I feel like that would be the version that's in the Teen Titans Go universe.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say Jake Lacey was the guy that I was trying to think of.
Oh.
If you remember who that is.
Maybe.
You know the guy I'm talking about?
Yeah. Maybe even who else would be good? If you colored him up enough, maybe a Logan Lerman or Dylan O'Brien, so someone with the right amount of charisma, because that's what you really need as a Flash. You need to be charismatic. You're not dark and brooding like Batman or Aquaman. You're not or Superman, actually. Wow, there's a lot of dark and brooding in DC.
Yeah.
But you need to have that personality, that charisma.
Like a little bit like Spider-Man.
That funny guy sort of persona. Yes.
It'll be Pablo Pascal. I mean, listen. He's
a little old, I think.
A little old, yeah, but you saw him in the Star Wars sequels. He had that comedic-esque personality that could fly. The problem is, here's my problem. Being almost 47 years old, I don't know actors that are in their early 20s now. So I struggle a little bit in that arena.
Isn't your job with this stuff? That's what we are here for. We're talking industry.
I am the boss of all of Streampunk Entertainment here. I can't always spend my time focusing on whatever, tweens or whatever things are out there. I am barely
whatever, boomer. All right.
I know, dude. I'm Gen X and proud. Listen, I just got into Phineas and Ferb. That's been off the air 12 years.
That wasn't a bad show. I gotta like
dude, that show was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Love the crap out of that show, man.
Now I understand why they like that show. It was like, wow, this is really interesting.
I got the song Hemoglobin Highway stuck in my head too. But all right, so we got about 4 minutes left at this point. I apologize for basically turning this entire episode into a train wreck at this point. Do you guys have any final thoughts or anything you want to cover real quicksies?
It has nothing to do with it.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
I want, and I hope he's watching us, and I'm going to keep saying this until he gets the message. I want the director of Peacemaker and Guardians of the Galaxy to direct James Gunn. Yes, I'm talking to you. To direct a Red Hood film.
And pray tell, who would you cast in that Red Hood film?
In that case, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go
No,
straight to Brian.
we just zooming on Scott. I thought Scott was throwing his hat into the ring.
Oh my God.
Dude, you know from my Marvel my DC universe, I'm Harvey Bullock here. So
okay, they throwing it out there. I will be honored to play Jason Todd as for Red Hood. I'll be honored. Don't. What did you do?
Just
God,
put him on the spot.
Yeah. There, how's that?
I will be honored. James Gunn directing Red Hood, and I will be honored. I'm not saying you have to cast me. I'm just saying I'm just putting my hat out there. See, I'm just tossing it. Put me as Red Hood. I will not steer you wrong. I will play him to the team if you can make it happen.
All right.
That's all I gotta say.
So that's what we're going to basically go out there for. Let's make it a thing. Make Davion Red Hood. James Gunn. Davion Bussey wants to be Red Hood.
Warner Brothers. Make it happen.
Or they'll possibly... or possibly, Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn. I don't know.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
maybe you could do it in the Joker film.
There you go.
Don't need James Gunn for that.
All right.
Okay. Now that Davion is done with his shameless self-promotion.
Whatever.
Nothing shameful about it, dude. Roll with it. So, all right. So basically, you got that one done. Any other final thoughts, or should we randomly plug Thursday and the other movie you're putting me into? Making me do.
Well, what am I doing?
Thursday, 5 p.m. What's happening?
Yes, Thursday, 5 p.m. We are finishing up our Bad Movie Beatdown Summer Spectacular with arguably one of the more divisive comedies ever to hit not just the summer movie theaters, but all movie theaters. A sequel to a classic that did not to be made. And considering the podcast I just heard from Jackie Mason's illegitimate daughter, there's some stuff to say about him. We're going Caddyshack 2. Possibly a double feature with Caddyshack leading into it, just so we can compare and contrast, considering it is the only sequel on the setup we have. And then later on this month, leading into September, we'll be getting into She-Hulk, Lords of the Ring, Rings of Power, and Andor. That's going to be a lot of people. So, hey, if you're charismatic enough and you want to go ahead and do the watch-alongs with us, shoot us a line. We need people.
And I will have some things to say about Rings of Power, as evidenced by what I showed Ryan and Davion yesterday, showing that technically my first film credit was, in fact, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Extended Edition. So
who better?
Exactly.
Really?
So, but that'll be conversation for another time, because, yes, it is in the credits. I pulled the picture from HBO Max yesterday. It is legit. 20
That's
years
why we're
ago.
Tales from the Film Set, baby. We were there.
So, all right, gentlemen, we got to wrap this up. But thank you as always. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Davion. I'm Scott. Have a great day. As always, stay awesome. So.